We are back for episode 4 from season 2 of
The Last of Us.
Of the HBO hit series.
Season 2, episode 4. It's flying by.
Yeah, it's flying by. I saw someone actually complaining that they're like, oh, it's only 4 episodes. I thought it's like been 10 because they're calling it a snooze fest and things like that.
Disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't find this season boring.
Fest. Well, sometimes
it's not Andor. What?
Sometimes if it's not constant action and explosions and
hey, it's funny they even said that.
Yeah, I mean,
one of them was like making fun of people saying that, oh, you just don't like because you don't have explosions. And while I don't think that necessarily because of what this channel is, kind of is that too.
Yeah,
like if you're saying it's boring, you want a lot of action.
Yeah, it's not boring. It's a lot of like decent writing and lots of
and a lot of world building, but it's a TV show. Yeah. It's a show.
They have a little bit more time to tell the story, and I think they were doing a decent job.
They were doing a decent job, yes. So we'll I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it because I don't want these episodes to be too long.
Yeah.
So this one,
before we start, let's talk about what we're going through to get this to the people. We're having some bad weather right now on the horizon.
Yeah.
But we risked life and limb to
give
get
the people
here,
what they
to
want.
get to the studio, to give the people what they want and what they deserve. So you're welcome for that.
Don't you have something to address from last week? You said you wanted to address something?
Yeah, I do. I dropped the ball. I'm supposed to be giving the game versus show perspective from someone who's played the game versus someone who hasn't. And I completely forgot that when Ellie and Dina strike out on their trip to Seattle to find Abby, Tommy left before them.
In the video game.
In the game, Tommy left before them, and they're kind of following him and tracking him, and he's kind of leaving a trail of carnage to follow. So not only are they looking for Abby, they're kind of looking for Tommy too. And he's like, they're finding evidence that, he's definitely been here because they're looking at all this stuff. So yeah, I dropped the ball on that. That was
as far as we know in the show, Tommy hasn't left.
He hasn't left, and that's a big fundamental change.
Yeah.
Lots of things happen down the road in the game that, as far as I can tell, aren't going to be able to happen because Tommy has not done that. So,
well, as far as we know,
to the viewers, I dropped that ball. As far as we know, he may have, and they're just kind of keeping it a secret, but they definitely don't show that in the series so far.
So now we're in episode 4, and it begins in 2018.
Episode 4,
when Fedra was still around.
Right, we get introduced to Isaac, who was awesome,
and I got his name right here, Jeffrey Wright. I can never remember his name. He's just one of those guys that everything he's in, he steals a scene.
Yes.
Like, he's a scene stealer.
He will always be to me the Cuban guy, the Dominican guy. I don't remember, from the Shaft remake or reboot.
Oh, I've never seen that.
With Samuel L. Jackson. And he was great in that. He played kind of a crazy guy. And that's what he's been in tons of stuff. And I'm like you, I like him in everything. But that's what I'll always remember him as. That's like his pivotal, and the first thing I'd ever seen him.
Yeah, first thing I ever saw him in was Lady in the Water. So now every time I see him, I get reminded of that movie.
Yeah. But he is really good. He was chilling. The interrogation scene.
Well, but even before we get to that, when you first meet him, it's a group of Fedra guys in an APC,
guy, right?
And he's the sergeant, and the rest of the guys are his platoon, and they're telling like little war stories or whatever,
right?
And it pans to him, and he basically says, "You're a dumbass. Shut up."
Right. They call them voters because it was a thing said.
He said
because we took their rights.
We took their rights to vote, and And then he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking." And he said, "That's because you're a non-thinker."
Right.
But just that right there, I was like, I love this dude.
Yes.
And I'm so happy. I had no idea he was going to be in the show.
And you get a backstory because I'm pretty sure he did the acting for the game. I'm pretty sure he was the guy. He was the mocap guy.
Well, even better.
Even better. Yeah, I don't remember getting all that backstory on him in the game, so that was neat to see.
You just hear he was with Fedra before, or you don't even get that?
I don't even think that. I don't even think you know that. You just know that he's the leader of the Wolves, the WLF.
So he's the leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
he ends up being the leader of the WLF in the game, which I'm sure will translate to
So
the show.
basically you saw that was the beginning of WLF. Like the inception is basically what you saw after he threw the grenades.
That was the beginning of the organization of it.
Right.
He was in the show. He
was starting it.
Well, no, they existed. Like those people that he met in the street.
They were WLF.
Oh, okay. I think he brought the militarization of it.
Right.
Is what I get.
The organization and
right.
Okay.
Right.
And then the little guy that followed him, he knew that he wasn't like the others. And then now you see a little bit later on that he's one of the top dogs.
And he's
completely
totally different. Totally different. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I mean, I knew nothing of Isaac before. This was complete new to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, yes.
When they show him, years and years later, and he's interrogating the Seraphite.
Yep.
And
that's the first time they say the name of him.
That's the first time they say the name.
They call him Scars.
But he's sitting there talking about pots and pans, and I'm thinking to myself, he's interrogating someone. He's about to get medieval on somebody. And that's what it was. And
that's not in the game, that scene.
It is and it isn't. It kind of happens, but it kind of happens off camera. Like you're playing as a character and you kind of know what's going on, but they don't actually show all what they showed.
Okay.
It was chilling and brutal and the guy just accepting.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm gonna get flamed.
But once he realized that the guy wasn't gonna say anything,
I'm not gonna get anything out of this guy. No
just
reason
gonna
to
end
keep
it now.
Yeah. That was very neat. It shows the dedication, the commitment. He struck a nerve when he said, we
never lose anybody.
Yeah,
and
the
y'all
WLF guys come to the Seraphites all the time. No Seraphite ever becomes a wolf. And he struck, and they were going back and forth until that moment. Yeah. So that was really neat. That was very well done, very well written. You get an insight into who the Seraphites are, and you get an insight into who Isaac is.
Yeah, I love that. I'm thrilled. I'm tickled pink that this guy's in the show.
Yes. Yeah. And, he's going to play a major part later, and hopefully we get to see more of him.
Okay. So after that, they show
things are different.
Things are different. You get Abby and not Abby, Ellie and Dina.
And look, up until a certain point, I was loving it.
Well, you had so let's go in order.
It turned into the agenda episode.
Yes, the first time you see them, they're in the pharmacy looking for pain medicine. She finds, and I knew it as soon as she said, "I gotta pee." I was like, she's taking her pregnancy test.
And I thought that was kind of neat. They showed them like foraging for supplies, like they would in the game. I thought that was kind of a neat little tie-in. Yeah, you kind of figure out that that's what she's doing. She's taking the test.
I didn't know that she was pregnant, but as soon as she said, "I gotta pee," and they didn't show what she was looking at, I was like,
she's gonna take they made it pretty obvious
because I remembered her puking.
Yeah,
in the previous episode.
And look, it's like this episode turned it into the Dina show, which is not a bad thing for me. I've said it before in the series. I love her. I think she's doing an excellent job. I think the character is better, better than in the game. It for me, I remember saying out loud, it's the Dina show.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
So they go inside of the radio station.
They go inside the radio station
because, they're like, we can't do it in broad daylight, whatever.
Right.
Oh, we missed, they had the guitar scene. Is that in the game?
That is. It's an optional part of the game. If you find it, you can do it. If not, it's not like part of the story. But I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really well. It looked like, it sounded like Bella Ramsey. I don't know if she was saying it.
It was her. They said in a little thing that she plays, and it was actually her performing. But the scene stealer for that scene was Dina's reaction. Yep. You could see her like falling in love with her, I guess, and realizing like maybe she had been struggling with feelings before, but that's kind of when it
kind of like sealed the deal.
And again, I've said this before, the recreation of the sets and the way they made it look, it's unbelievable how they made it They
more in this
recreated them.
season.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking
they
in the
recreated
first
those things
season, I was
perfectly.
like, it looks like they just did a lot of CGI in the background, and they had a couple of streets shut down to do what they wanted to do. It didn't look. It looked like I was watching a TV show.
Yeah.
Now that looks like a real world to me.
Yes.
Well, what I'm seeing feels like an apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's unbelievable the way they did it. And the one thing that struck me also in that scene, the detail of adding the silicone packets to the guitar case so it wouldn't get all.
She knew it. It preserved it.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little detail that
the little packets that get on our nerves.
Yeah,
there's a reason
to get
for
them when
them.
you're eating your bacon bits.
Right. There's a reason for them.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat little detail. That was a great scene. They find the tank and they talk about Fedra and the war and how they were fighting each other and all
that's
that
in the
stuff.
game where
another little optional conversation that you can encounter. So that was neat to see that fleshed out. They came across the rainbow flags,
yes,
which was required,
of course. You don't see that in the game, man. No,
they didn't. They didn't. I don't remember seeing that.
Well, it is Seattle, so
it is Seattle, and they are having feelings for each other.
It is Seattle. So getting past that, they go into the radio station and they discover the bodies.
Yeah,
that were obviously.
Well, and even right before that, not to cut you off, but you have another instance of Dina stepping in and
calming her down,
calming her down and saying, "Okay, well, let's not rush in.
We have to go.
Where are they? They're higher than us. We're coming from.
They have the high ground, Anakin.
It's night. We need to wait till all that stuff was once again the Dina show. Yeah. Love the character. Love how they're doing her in the.
So they
show.
go at night. They even notice some cameras, and so they're like, "We're gonna go this way." But then they see a broken window. Oh, somebody already went through there because they got cut. Okay, so they go in the same way, and then they discover those bodies.
Yes,
which the scars obviously did that. To
they were Fedra soldiers that WLF soldiers that the scars got a hold of, the Seraphites got a hold of, and made an example out of them. I guess
disemboweled them,
left them there. Again, an encounter that you have. That's part of the story. They find that, and they kind of introduce a little bit of the It's neat the way they did it. I watched it with Jacob, and he was kind of laughing. They incorporated the sneaking around and the stealth and all that stuff. I thought that was.
I was waiting for them to throw a bottle. Yeah,
throw a bottle or a Molotov or something. That was neat the way they did that, and then they tag teamed to beat the guy, and they got out of there.
I do like that they're showing they're not invincible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
A very neat scene. Again, the set was identical to what you see in the game. The way they recreated that
so they escape, and this is the scene that I had watched somebody play where they're in that like subway area with the train. I'd actually about in episode 1, but this is the scene that I was talking about.
Right.
So
they're looking for them with the red flares and
the red flares, and then all of the infected come and they start overwhelming the wolves.
Yeah.
So they're able to go in the cars and they're chasing through. I mean, that was a great scene.
And once again, even before with Dina listening
she's
to the
listening
sound,
and
counting how many there are, and then there's way too many to count after that. But and you see the spores, the roots or whatever in the subway reacting to the flare, so they knew where to gather. That was great. That was very well done. Running away,
pretty much almost the same way. They go up the escalator. She gets caught in the turnstile type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is different though.
This is a little bit different.
In the game, Ellie's mask breaks, and remember they're wearing masks because of all the spores. Well, we don't have that.
Right.
So we were talking about this earlier. How are they going to do that scene?
Right.
And the way they did it was she put her arm
Ellie
in front of his mouth
up for Dina,
and it bit her arm instead of biting Dina.
Right. Which was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
I think that's a great way to let Dina know. So like right after she's got all these feelings and everything,
she's like, I gotta kill her now.
I'm gonna have to shoot this person. That was awesome up until when they get into the theater. She pulls the gun on her. Ellie has to explain, I'm not bit. Like, watch me all night long.
I'm not infected.
I'm not infected.
I'm immune,
watch me all night long. I'm going to be the same person as when I wake up. And she's kind of just doesn't say a word. Like she's just trying to figure out what she's going to do and how she's going to do this. That was all excellent. It was great.
Yep.
It was really great. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. The Dina show.
Yeah.
Dina made it.
Oh,
the actress.
She's fantastic.
She's
She really
great.
is.
Yeah.
Like, and just like her facial expressions, like during the escape, how she was
Yeah.
it's very believable.
Yes. Yes.
She doesn't look like she's acting. Like it looks real.
Yeah.
To me. So, okay.
Yeah.
Overnight, wakes up and she's able to prove to her because the bite hasn't gotten worse.
She's still got the
She's
gun
not
trained
showing
on
any
her.
symptoms.
I like how they put she had the flashlight on.
You don't see her face.
You can't see her face. You can't see her reaction. That was all very well done. Noticeable choices that they made that are impactful.
And now we know why they held off the scene of them getting together earlier. There was a buildup.
Here it is.
So she's relieved that she's not infected.
Right.
So then she basically attacks her. And
she blurts out she's pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
She blurts out she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And
then
that's okay. All that stuff is okay. Right. We didn't need to see everything we saw. But
at least they stopped it after like 5 seconds.
Yeah, they stopped it after a few seconds. But the real issue became it's almost like the show is now about the pregnancy. We're going to have a baby. I'm going to be a daddy, which was a funny line. I laughed out loud when she said, I'm going to be a dad.
It bothered me. So I don't know. Was it supposed to be a joke?
I think it was supposed to be.
Because the baby has a dad.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be.
His name is what again?
It's Jesse.
Jesse.
So, I'm assuming it's going to be Jesse.
So you're not a dad.
Right.
At best, you're a stepmom.
Because she said earlier in the season, she said that they had gotten back together and it wasn't going to work out. I thought it was funny. I took it as a funny joke. I laughed. But then they like start planning their family and they start, it's different in the game. In the game, Ellie gets upset with Dina for not telling her because she tells her, we could have turned back.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to come all the way out here. And then Dina explains, I wasn't sure and this and that. I feel like at this point, it's going to be about that now. And I don't think it's realistic with everything she's dealing with. And they're out there to find Abby and avenge Joel and all that stuff. Now they're planning a family. It just took a turn and I wasn't crazy about it. I don't know. I feel like the show changed and she's more worried about that now. And the final shot, they're holding hands and together and that just kind of turned me off.
And I get it. Okay. But here's where I'm going to kind of flip the script a little bit from my typical Nelson self. Okay. I'm going to try to be, what's the word?
You're going to broaden. I got you.
I'm not going to try to not to be so cynical, but that is a video game.
Yeah.
And it is more realistic to think that she wouldn't be as willing, or Ellie wouldn't be as willing for her to follow her being pregnant, that things would change.
Right.
Does that make sense?
But my thing about that is then, okay, well, let's go home. Things are different now.
Let's go home.
You're going to have a baby. We're going to be a part of it. We're making all these plans. Maybe we just need to go home.
Yeah.
We just saw what we're dealing with. You got two different factions fighting each other. Brutal. You're in danger. I'm in danger.
The amount of infected.
Not to mention the infected. This unborn baby is in danger. Let's just go home. We tried. Yeah. Things are different now. The world is different now. Let's go home. With what they were talking about and what happened, naturally, I think that's what should have happened. Because she wasn't all gung-ho anymore. Now it's all about the baby, and which is great. That's fine. But I feel like they've changed everything. They've changed the dynamic.
No, look. That's just where we are right now.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen.
We'll see what happens. We'll see.
So maybe it'll just make a little more sense. Maybe Dina will leave and Ellie will meet up with Tommy and it'll be Ellie and Tommy.
It's possible, but which is okay. It's going to be a huge departure from the game. But
that's fine.
And that's okay.
Right.
And I have that in my notes. Like they're doing a lot of things different and that's all right. We don't want a carbon copy,
Well, we want
but it needs to still make sense.
the show needs to make more sense than the video game.
Right.
The video game, you can have a lot of things not make sense because you can always say, well, it's a video game.
Yeah.
But a TV show that you want people to feel, this is kind of what would happen if the apocalypse were to happen. It needs to be a little more believable than a video game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to stray too far away from the game because you want to stay true to the source material.
Right.
But sometimes the source material just doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it is a video game.
In the context of a show. Yeah. I get all that. But this was a big change.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes moving forward. I had a love, not love relationship with this episode. There were parts of it where some of the best stuff in the show so far.
Yeah.
Just some of the choices
Isaac,
at
baby.
the end. Isaac.
We need more Isaac.
Isaac and Dina, man. Like the two scenes in Dina made the episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
There's no doubt the girl, the actress, what's her name?
Isabella Merced, I believe.
Isabella Merced.
Yeah.
There's no doubt she's going to need to get more work because she's great.
She is.
And I've never seen her in anything other than this.
I've seen her in one other thing, the second Sicario movie, which
that's right. You told me about
someone had let you borrow that and you haven't watched it yet.
Who let me borrow that?
It was I don't remember. That's why I take notes because I don't remember things.
It's kind of like I let this guy borrow a book, a great novel called written by a decent author. What's his name? Stephen King?
Didn't he read that book and get it back to you?
Yeah, after
Eventually.
year.
It was a long time.
A 200-page book after a year.
He read it about halfway and then stopped reading it. And then a year later, finished reading it.
But then he reads another one by the same author that's 76,000 pages and he reads the whole thing.
We don't know why people do the things they do. So yeah. Love, not love relationship with the episode. There were parts of it that were unbelievable and amazing, and then they kind of it remains to be seen. They threw in their little stuff, and it could have been worse.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't know the way it was done, I thought it was touching watching them, them fall in love with each other and the will they, won't they, and we know it's coming and all that. I loved all that. Thought that was very well handled. Just in this context, I don't know. I'm bitten. I'm not infected. Well, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I don't know if that would.
That didn't seem kind of realistic.
It didn't seem like the natural way of things.
Yeah.
But good for them. I don't. Other than that, the way it affected the story, I don't care. We'll see how it goes. Right. I think it's going to continue to be good. We'll just have to see what they do with the story. With the Tommy thing, with with everything that's going on with the baby thing, how they handle that, because that is a major thing much later.
Yeah.
Like epilogue wise. But I just don't think. I think the way they handled it in the show, the decision maybe would have at least been discussed. Maybe we need to just go home and we're all psyched about this baby now. Maybe we need to go take care of this baby.
Picket fences and barbecues.
Right. Yeah. Right. In the apocalypse. Yeah.
Which they do have.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I thought
well,
that's good.
I like the episode. I do want to comment on, we are not left-leaning people, okay? Quite the opposite, actually.
Yes.
And I don't think that, aside from one episode in season 1, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, I think that they've done a pretty good job of not being the W word way over there. Okay. Have they had their moments? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's nearly as bad as some people are saying on these other reviews that I'm watching.
No.
I mean, you would swear that it's
getting trashed, and I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
I don't think that it's, they do have their social commentary, which I've commented on it already, and it still is in there. but I don't think it's nearly as bad as it's being made out to be.
I don't think
Because if
so
that's the
either.
case, I wouldn't watch it.
I don't
I
think
wouldn't
so
be
either.
interested in watching it.
I have seen the same kind of things, and people are trashing it and all that stuff, and maybe that's just the cool thing to do to trash.
Well,
it.
yeah, and then they're placating to their audience.
Yeah.
We have personal and political and religious beliefs or whatever, but when we're doing this show, we're trying to be as objective as possible.
Right.
And I don't think that because I lean a certain way or vote a certain way,
Look,
and these people are this way, then they can't possibly make anything good.
something can be done well, and it's done well.
Right.
And something can be done not well, and it's something like the episode in the first season did nothing for the show. It didn't
Absolutely.
do anything
It did not
to move the
do
show
anything
forward.
to move the
And that
story.
was the issue with
Mhm.
it. Same thing with this. It's like, and it remains to be seen where they're taking it. We'll see how it goes. It just seemed like a weird choice to it's more of the we're having a baby thing than the they're in love thing.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. We'll see how they progress in the next few episodes.
I mean, it's obvious that she knew that Ellie had feelings for her.
Yeah.
She just didn't know how strong her feelings were for Ellie until the guitar scene.
Right.
Which look, it happens to everybody. Something
great.
somebody will do.
Yeah, no,
It'll just trigger. And
it was great. It was probably my favorite scene in the episode, and puts it in one of the top scenes of the show.
I've never, I don't know. I think that Hollywood kind of gets it wrong when people just want to make love after a certain incident. I just don't buy that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've, in my life, in my career, what I did for a living, there were times where I was amped up or something. And the last thing I wanted to do when I got home was make love to my wife. Okay. Right. Whenever I just got into a wrestling match with somebody who had a weapon or whatever the case was.
Right.
The last thing I wanted to do was come home and make love to my wife because I was amped up. That is baloney.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
For
never
anybody
had that
watching,
experience.
that's baloney. So anyway, I just want to say that.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's a Hollywood thing.
Very much a Hollywood
for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part. For most people, I would imagine that's a Hollywood.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, we'll see what episode 5's bring.
Yeah,
episode 5 brings.
Still looking forward to it. Still.
So I guess it's gonna be day 2 of.
It's gonna.
Are they gonna do? Are they gonna do day 1 of?
What I think the next episode is gonna be the Abby show. I think it's gonna be all
day
about
1,
Abby, what
Abby?
she's up to. There's pretty sure there's gonna be I keep saying Joel's gonna come back in flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked we hadn't seen him.
I'm shocked too. It's been 2 episodes now, I think.
Yeah.
There is going to be an episode dedicated to that, I think, or at least a large part of an episode dedicated to a flashback scene,
right,
where he's involved. But yeah, I think next week, this week is going to be about Abby, and they're going to meet in the middle. They're going to meet at some point. And we'll see.
Yeah, because there's no way they're gonna do 1, 2, and 3 of Ellie, and then 1, 2, and 3 of Abby.
I don't think so. And there's also,
I guess we're giving something away that it's a 3-day span that all this stuff happens. Yeah. Sorry.
And did we also hear? Is it gonna be? Aren't they doing the second game in 2 seasons? Do I remember hearing that?
I heard that was kind of a rumor, but I don't know if that was confirmed. So I guess we're not going to know until the end of the season what they're going to do.
Yeah. So that's interesting too.
So
they might break it up. They might spend the rest of this season building up to,
because there's only 9 episodes, right?
Right.
So that means there's only 5 left.
We're just about halfway.
So there's not enough to do 3 and 3.
Right. So we'll see. They may leave it on.
There's exactly enough. There would be 5 and 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Look, so it's possible.
A lot of stuff happens. So they may leave it on the cliffhanger, and to be continued season 3. After a confrontation or.
But they are confirmed they're not doing any more games, right? The games are done.
I've heard that, and I've heard. Was it Druckmann that said that he hadn't put any thought into a 3rd game?
That's what I had heard.
Then there's all kind of rumors swirling about. You never know. I don't know. he might have just said that to build up hype and
prior to the show release.
Yeah, I really don't know. I saw something about, well, they now talking about doing a third game like set in the world, but like a prequel game with different characters, which would be great. That'd be fun. I'd pay money for that. Who knows? But the season, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
More so than the first one for various reasons.
But I've noticed Druckmann's name is still not in the writing.
Yeah, you saw that. I saw that again this week too. So we'll see. All right, I'm enjoying it.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up and we will see you guys next week.
See you.